Hi, I am going to show you how to create a digital interactive worksheet that you can make using previous worksheets that you've already had that are in digital form. So if it's something you have in Microsoft Word or you have a PDF file of it, you can take that and put it right into a Google slide basically and make it into a worksheet that you can submit or students can submit in Google Classroom for a grade. So you do need to have the worksheet as a digital copy. If you have paper copies, you can easily make them digital by using like a scanning app on your phone. If you have an iPhone, the Notes app actually has a scan feature built right in. So you just open that up and then you can scan the worksheet and save it. And then what's nice about doing it on your phone is then you can push that right to your Google Drive if you have the Google Drive app on your phone too. There are other scanning apps that you can download, or you can just use a regular scanner too that's hooked to like a printer. But honestly, the phone is probably the easiest way to do it because you're just taking it and taking a picture, and then you can upload it right to Google Drive. So this is the digital copy of a worksheet that I'm going to use. This is just actually it was a cut and paste worksheet that I use for the weather instruments. So they had to cut those out and then match them up with the correct definition. And so this is something that obviously I'm going to have to modify to have them do remotely, or even if they're in the classroom and you don't want to share supplies and stuff, this is another way that you could still do the same activity. I also have some short answer questions that I added in there just so you could see how that would look as well. So the first thing that I need to do is take a picture, basically a screenshot of the worksheet. So I'm going to use the snipping tool that I have. This is right on my taskbar, but for you guys, you're probably going to want to just go to your Windows button and then type in snipping tool. And then you're going to go to New on the taskbar. Oh, actually, oh, sorry. Before you hit New, you have to make sure that you can see the whole worksheet on the screen. So you have to adjust that. Let's see. Let's try that again. All right. Now, nope. Oh, come on. There we go. So you're basically just drawing a box around the worksheet. Wherever the top of your box is going to be the very top of your worksheet. So on my worksheet, you can see that the red line right here, it's going to put that right at the top. I'm cutting off the name and the date because obviously we don't need that if it's digital, but you do want to go as close to the regular size of the worksheet as you can so that it's not distorted when we put it into Google Slides. Also, don't go past the edges of the worksheet because then you'll end up with lines on there. So like if I do that, you can see there's a big block and I don't want that. So we'll go ahead and do it again. And there we go. So there is the first page of my worksheet. I'm going to go to File, Save As, and then we'll call it Weather ID Worksheet. And I'm going to keep it as a PNG. It's just a slightly better quality format than JPEG. But if you're scanning from your phone and it saves it as a JPEG, it's not a big deal. You can still use that too. So I'm going to go to Save. And now I need to do my second page. So I'm going to go like that. I've got the cursor blinking, so I'm going to click up above so that's not in my picture. When I go to make my next screenshot, I don't want to just get that part of it because it's going to take that section and stretch it out into 8.5 by 11. So try to keep it as close to the same size of the page as possible. And then also I'm going to be using that blank space at the bottom for my pieces that they're going to be moving around. So I'll go ahead and save that as Weather ID worksheet 2. I'll go to the next one. And there's that. And again, try to grab most of the sheet or the page as you can so that stuff doesn't get really distorted. And I'll show you how we're going to use those when we get to the Google Slides. We'll be able to split those up into individual pieces that they can manipulate. So that's worksheet 3. And then my last one was the short answer questions. And you might have to play around with that a little bit. Like if the font is too small, you can make it a little bit bigger. You can't, what you don't want is if we zoom into like 100%, now you can't see the whole worksheet. So when you go to do the screenshot, you're not gonna be able to get all of the questions in there. So try to zoom out as far out as you can so that you can still see the whole thing. So I'm going to go and grab that. And that is my number 4. So this is nice because if you have like a packet, you can do multiple pages in one document and not have to submit or post multiple things that, for them to go to, multiple sheets or documents. It's just one document with all of the pages, just like a regular packet that you would hand out. All right, so we've got our pages. Now what we need to do is we're going to go to Google Slides. So a lot of people would think that you'd use Google Docs because that's what we had the worksheet in before in Google or in Microsoft Word, but Google Docs doesn't allow you to manipulate stuff as easily as in Google Slides. So if you go to YouTube and you search any sort of tutorial for teacher worksheet stuff or a lot of stuff, the Bitmoji classrooms and all of those things that you've seen, they're all using Google Slides because you can change it to so many different formats. So we're going to get rid of everything. We'll just go ahead and highlight that and delete it. And now we need to make our page the same size as our worksheet. So we go to File and then Page, Custom, and we'll just do it 8.5 by 11. Obviously, if this was a landscape picture or worksheet, then you just would flip those. Do that, and there we go. So now we have our worksheet template, basically, that we're going to add our pictures on. We're not going to just insert the pictures onto the document, though, because what happens is that you can actually, or the students can then move stuff around. They could delete things, and you don't want that, especially if they're working at home, because then you're going to have to try to help them remotely. So what we actually want to do is make our worksheet the background. So you just click on background, and then choose image. And so from here, if you used your phone, it's right there. You don't have to search for it on your computer. It'll be right in your Google Drive. But since I did it right on my computer, I'm going to go to upload and browse my computer. Make sure you pay attention to where you save it so you're not searching everywhere. So there's my first worksheet. Well, hit done, and there we go. So now you notice that I can't do anything with that. They cannot delete anything. It's part of the worksheet. You notice at the top, it's a little bit, it looks like it's cut off. That's because we had up above was the heading. So that's where if you want to delete the heading, but leave that space just to give it that look of a worksheet, you can. It's totally up to you with how much you want to mess with it, but you don't have to. It's all there, so it's not a big deal. So then we need to add in our second page. So we go to Slide, New Slide, and again, you can just do Control A. Oops, click on the slide, Control A, delete, and that gets rid of everything. And now we're going to change our background again to the second page of our worksheet. We had, oops, worksheet 2, go there, and done. So you can see how it kept that space down here. If we had just took a screenshot of just that box, it would have stretched it out for the whole thing. So that's why you want to leave that space down here. And then we're going to add another slide. And actually, this is going to be worksheet 4. So we'll do our background. You can also just do right click and change background. We'll choose worksheet 4. And I skipped worksheet 3 with the icons on it, and I'll show you why in just a second. Done. and there are the short answer questions. So I need to have the pieces that they're going to move around. So what I'm going to do there is I'm actually going to insert an image for those because we want them to be able to move them to where they need to go. So we're going to go to insert image right here. Again, upload from the computer or wherever you have it. And I'm going to click on right there. And so there are my pieces. I'm going to double click on it. And when you do that, you can actually crop that down, make it so we get rid of all that white space. And now what I'm going to do is make a copy. Control C, Control V. We'll just drag that over to the side. And this, I'm going to double click again and basically crop out all of the other instruments to just the ones that I need. So there's one there. And then I just made a copy of the other one again. And oops, I just moved it. Nope. Edit, undo. So you go through like that. And you'll just do that for each of the pieces that they would cut out. And this again, this is just if you're doing you're doing a cut and paste worksheet that they would have. More here. We'll do the rain gauge here. Try to get it as close to the edges as you can so it fits in the boxes. And there we go. And so once you get through with all of that, you wouldn't have that over there anymore. You would just have your pieces. And when they would open up the worksheet, now what they can do is figure out where it needs to go. So measures the amount of rainfall, so you can drag that right in there. And you might want to go through and size them out beforehand so that they're not overlapping, but that's totally up to you. And then, so since these are on one page and I need to put one on the other, I'm going to take, and actually that one is going to go there. So we'll just leave it there. But they would have to right click, cut, go to the second page, and paste. You could put them on the sides if you want, but if they're zoomed in a lot, it may be hard for them to see everything. So we've got an or weather vane. So we're trying to figure out wind direction here. So we'll put that right there. There we go. All right, I'm going to crop that down because I want it to fit in the box. Okay, so what's nice about doing these ones is that if they submit it and you're like, you had a bunch of them on there and you're going through and grading it, you could actually just pull off the ones that aren't correct and then send it back to them and have them fix it. Because this is something that, like when I do this activity in class, I have them put them all down before they glue them. I check it, and then that's basically what I do. I'll be like, nope, that one's not right. That one's not right. And then they have to fix it. So you could do that right here on this worksheet. Now for the short answer questions, this one, what you're going to do for them to answer it, because again, they can't move any of this. This is all part of the background. You are going to insert a text box. So we're just going to drag like that. And then you can just type something like click here to type answer. There we go. And it's up to you if you want to have a box around it or not. It would look like that if they don't. If you want to add the box so they can see where they're where they're working. Let's see, where's the line here? There we go. A little pen here. So you click black, click off of it, and now they can see where they're typing their answer. And then all you have to do from there is just copy, paste, paste. Oh. And then for this last one, they actually had to create an arrow. So that's not anything that you would necessarily have to do for them as far as like including the arrow. You can just, they can draw that on there themselves because they can just go through. Okay, as we increase air pressure, the moisture content drops. So we do that. And they could add that in there, and then they're done. So they would get their digital worksheet blank. They can submit it, and then you can grade it right through Google Classroom. So that is the worksheet. And from here, what you would want to do, I'll go ahead and title it. That would be good. Weather ID worksheet. There you go. Okay, so now we're ready to add that into Classroom. So you go to Google Classroom. I like to add, you just go right to classwork and create. This is an assignment, and I'll call it weather ID worksheet. Move weather recognition. Answer, short answer. There, so you don't even have to include the directions on the worksheet because they'll see it here before they even open it. So then we need to add the worksheet. So you go to add. This will be in your Google Drive because you created it in Google Slide, a Google Slide. So I'll go to my, oh, actually recent. We don't even need to move it because we just made it. And there it is. Oops. Insert. And there we go. Now, I'll get myself out of the way. Once you get to that point, you need to make a copy for each student. If you do students can view file, then they're only looking at it like it's a PowerPoint. If you do edit, then they can all change it together. We don't want that. You want them to each do it on their own. So you do make a copy for each student. And then you can go up here for classes. You can do it for multiple classes. So I'm going to do it with class 1 and 2. And then points, due date, we'll make it due Friday. And make sure you click a topic if you have them set up that way in Classroom, because if you don't do it now, you're going to have to go to each class. So if you have this in multiple classes, this is where it's kind of a pain. If you have multiple sections of the same class and you're assigning it, if you don't pick the topic now, you'll have to move them all around, type in the topic. It's a pain. So if you have it already saved, I'll create a topic. I'll just call it weather. There we go. And there. So now we're all set. You hit assign. The students will open up that worksheet. When they open it, it will be in this mode. It's going to be not in presentation mode. It's going to look like this, so that way they can move stuff around like they need to. And then they're not going to share it with you. They'll just submit it because it'll be assigned through Classroom. So then you'll get it, you can grade it, and you're all set. So that is taking how you take a regular worksheet and make it into an interactive Google Slides worksheet. Let me know if you have any questions.